I'd like to welcome Blaine Gaffney back to the studio. Little did you think he'd be back so quickly, Blaine.
No, I don't know.
But there you go, and you're being thrown in the deep end. Blaine,
Opportunities must.
The Fine Gael area rep for Sligo. Well, just before I ask Miriam about the National Maternity Hospital, the question he was asked in Canada last night, do you think that was appropriate?
I think it was opportunism from the political correspondent, but it's nothing new from Daniel McConnell. He doesn't make any bones about the fact that he's not an Enda person. I think it was a little bit disrespectful to be asking in front of a world leader his own position, but I suppose more than our contributor here said, it's an international media now, and if he's asked the same question in Cork, he'll be asked the same question in Canada. It's just a little bit disappointing because I think people know that the decision it's imminent, and I think the man needs a bit of respect to be able to make that decision in his own time. But I wouldn't expect anything else from Daniel McConnell.
Is it a bit of a distraction for your party, do you think?
No, I think, look, listen, the media want it to be a distraction because it sells papers. It sells papers.
It's of interest to people because we're talking about the future leader of the country here.
This political, there's a lot more going on in the country than the leadership of Fine Gael and the leadership of the Taoiseach. I think, as I said, that the decision is imminent, and I just think the man should be left alone to make that decision.
All right, and I don't suppose you're going to tell us Leo or Simon. Who would you prefer to see?
Me, myself, personally?
Yeah. Can you say that or not? You don't
have they both have great characteristics, and I think both of them are going to lead us to a new era and a new future in the party. Me, myself, personally, haven't made up my own mind. I think when the contest actually happens, I think that's when people will tune in. Because I tell you, within Fine Gael, we're grand at the meetings, the senior party meetings and the parliamentary party meetings are maybe discussed briefly, but the political offices are just very, very busy. Tony McLaughlin's office is mental busy. We don't have time to be thinking about leadership.
I believe you. I believe you. There is a strong. Well, it's more than a rumour. There is strong speculation that a deal has already been done, and that Radker has thrown his lot in with Coveney. I don't know if that's the case or not. There's a suggestion that the deal is already.
I wouldn't believe it.
Okay. Blaine, I'm curious. You said there that, of course, you work with Tony McLaughlin, that you're mental busy. What's the main issue at the moment on people's minds? Is it local or is it national or is it just a range of?
Well, I suppose we break up the office.
What's annoying people at the moment most, do you think?
In terms of coming into the office, and with their issues. Well, a lot of people nowadays, they're not coming into the office. They're using emails and they're using Facebook to voice their annoyance, and usually in situations where issues are before the Dáil, they would be coming in. So the school admissions bill at the minute, that's quite prevalent. We have people complaining about the Irish Defence Forces. There's been a big campaign there to give them a right to collective bargaining and etc. But in terms of
wives and partners,
and
so forth,
and in fact, I remember back. Well, I don't remember back to '89, but my own mother was out in 1989, way back in the time. But in the office, I suppose people are coming in. They're looking for assistance with their medical cards. They're looking for assistance with the grant applications. They're looking for assistance with planning. They're looking for advice on different types of issues. And I suppose that would be the work we would do in Sligo. In terms of Dublin, then we would be based on the national issues, the parliamentary questions, the Dáil debates, the raising of the issues. Just there now, I got sitting down just after I left, and we started to work on Deputy McLaughlin's anti-fracking bill, which is before the committee next Wednesday. That bill, as you know, it's quite a groundbreaking bill, in fact.
So all sorts of issues, but mainly those local issues, the planning, the applications that people have concerns over and so forth. Yeah,
the access to medical cards, accessing services that should be readily available, but unfortunately sometimes there's difficulties in accessing them. All
right, okay, we had a programme, Henry, about 2 weeks ago on rural crime and the level of attacks on particularly members of elderly members of the public, which largely go unreported, unfortunately. Was that Blaine, we still get this in the programme all the time. Garda stations are closed, lack of Garda in the street, not enough Garda numbers. You're agreeing, are you?
Well, I would say that the Garda Síochána has come through a very, very difficult time in an economic recession. But let's not forget the fact that this year and last year recruits are coming out of Templemore. It was shut under the previous administration. There's new Garda cars, I think was there 18 or 19 in the Sligo Leitrim division. We have plans in place with a site hopefully going to be acquired in the next couple of months for a new Garda station in Sligo. And just over the last, I don't know, was it the bank holiday weekend or over the last number of weeks, I've seen a physical presence of Gardaí out doing police checks, out doing stops. And I think the physical presence can act as a deterrent. But I mean, this contributor's right. We need more Gardaí. We need more Gardaí on the beat, and we need more Gardaí out from behind the desks of computers. And I think there's plans to spend a couple of $100 million on updating the pulse, and also to get more Gardaí out from behind the desk and get them out on the street and on the beat and in community policing.
All right, Blaine, I don't know if you were in Kiltyclogher that day.
I was down with the Taoiseach that day. The thing that struck me was in fact a new car park that had been built there to facilitate bigger cars and buses coming down. But I mean, I think we're right here. You know, if something's not open, people aren't going to come and visit. We've a wonderful facility down there. I think it's the only home that's still standing of one of the signatories of the 1916 Rising, and yet it's not open. We talk about having people coming north of the Galway line when they're coming the Wild Atlantic Way and coming visiting this part of Ireland, and things like that. It's simple. They just need to be open. They need to find some way to look at keeping these things open. I mean, that's just one example. I'm sure there are many up and down the coast of Sligo and Leitrim, and it's disappointing to hear it, and it's disappointing to hear the conversation, but hopefully something might come from this debate.
But he's a gentleman, and he's always been like that. The House of Commons and the White House have prayer before sessions. Why should we be different? Our President didn't mention God in his Easter or Christmas speech. Compare this with the Queen or President's speeches. Blaine Gaffney is wrong in his personal attack on Daniel McConnell. The leader of Fine Gael is irrelevant, as they'll all be in opposition before too long. Well, maybe they know something we don't know. How representative is your panel on the religious issue? Is there no alternative viewpoint on offer? Well, you weren't around for that part of it. Do you agree with the prayer before the 30-second reflection?
Is this in relation to the Dáil vote yesterday?
Yeah,
well, look, me. Ideally, I would think that, you know, we're living in an Ireland now that's changing and an Ireland that's evolving, and I think it's becoming definitely among the younger generations becoming more secular, and I would see that for those who are on Facebook and who are online and all this, it would be a little bit difficult to see this being debated in the Dáil. But at the same time, the vast majority of people in this country are Roman Catholic, and I would say that almost all of the people in Dáil Éireann would be Roman Catholic. So I can see why it passed. But I can also see why there's a lot of concern about it.
Okay, you're agreeing, Blaine, are you?
Yeah, I think that she would definitely be somebody that you would admire to. You know, you admire her courage to stand up to what she stood up to in her early days. But coming back,
I'm very surprised. I didn't think we'd have.
No, I mean, listen, look,
Margaret Thatcher fans in the panel.
When I say about the policies, I would say, look, you could argue about policies, but I was talking about her own inner courage and her own inner strength to do what she did in the United Kingdom. But the question was, it came back to about Theresa May.
Yeah.
Theresa May is no iron lady, I wouldn't think, although the media are kind of certain aspects of the media are purporting that. I think what was said there, you know, that it is a difficult place for women to break into politics, but we do need more. I mean, I worked for a very, very strong European politician, Mairead McGuinness, and I tell you something, watching that lady in action was a lesson. So again, if we had more women in politics, it would definitely do the country well, as well as the politics scene. But just coming back to Theresa May, I just think for a woman who started off as a Remainer, who now is a hard Brexit advocate, I'm not feeling confidence in her one-line approaches. You know, Brexit means Brexit, but what does that mean? You know, we're going to make a success of it. Tell us how you're going to do it. And until I see some clear indications on how they're going to make a success of Brexit, I'm just not a Theresa May fan.